myself a few questions and I'm going to answer them to clear up a little bit on my project. So question number 1, how do I set up and capture both sound and pictures successfully to camera? Well, obviously using an iPhone is obviously great because it's got both sound and camera at the same time, but if you wanted to make a clearer sound, you could always record the sound using a mic, so that the sound is clearer, especially for like podcasts and stuff, so it's easier to hear the sound. What rooms of other spaces could I use that would work and look good and sound good? Well, I'm currently in a pod, which is really nice and quiet, which is probably our most ideal thing, is having a quiet room so that you have no other background noise, so it's not as off-putting as a really loud room, and it looks good as well because it's just kind of plain and not really, it's good. What image and message am I trying to convey in my performance? Well, in my performance, I'm trying to convey different emotions. So with each song conveys a different emotion. And so for each different emotion, I'm going to try and show visually, using like facial expressions and hand gestures, the different emotions, because it'll be easier to put that across using more hand gestures and movements, especially for the more like anger. You really want to look like angry at something, and you're angry that this has happened to you, which is kind of what we're going for our theme, is obviously this journey, which is the game of life, which we have based our project on, which you can probably hear in some of our video diaries that we've done. It's easier to see that. How could I draw inspiration to help me create a good performance? Well, I'm actually looking at different YouTube videos, so I'll link those in my Google site. But I have kind of been looking at different videos of different people performing, so finding someone that's performing a really sad song and show how they look on stage, and they're usually quite still and usually looking into the audience so that it sort of brings the audience into the emotion, which is what we want to convey. And then for the happier songs, just kind of bringing people's moods up, just making them more engaged. What are my biggest strengths and my weaknesses as a musician and performer? My probably biggest strength is obviously my voice, but I'm also trying to play piano, which is proving a little bit of a weakness because I've never actually played piano before in a performance. So I thought I would challenge myself this time and really do something that I've not really done before, and which is really exciting. I'm a very good videographer. I don't know if that's the word, but sort of recording everything. So like I'm doing right now, I'm quite good at doing little entries, like diary entries, little questions, things like that, so that I've all the ideas. I'm quite good at ideas as well. What are the key musical ideas I wish to explore and develop in my project work? Well, actually, this is an interesting question because we've kind of thought about this quite heavily, actually. It's one of the main parts of what we were thinking of when we were doing our project. But we would really like to convey the sound of a car throughout, so that sort of throughout our performance you're going to hear the continuous motif of a car engine, and we're doing this to kind of link back to the idea of like the game and this journey of life, and we're doing this because in the game of life the main little pawns of the game are actually cars, and it's supposed to be like the road through your life. And so we thought we would bring this car theme into our songs. So at the beginning of every song, there'll be the little car motif, which will link the entire thing together, and the emotions, with the reason why we're doing each different emotion is because it's about how someone's affected you along the journey, and how when you bring this emotion into your life, how does it make you feel, and how would it in your shoes. And that's kind of the idea that we wanted to really portray. So this car is really like metaphorically the brain, in a sense, because it's like the brain's going through this journey of life with you. And obviously it's like mental, obviously emotions are very like a mental in like the head. So we kind of wanted to portray this car motif. And yeah, I hope that really clears everything up.